And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm National Weather Service Meteorologist Peter Chan. On this Thursday, October 26th, 2023, and in this YouTube broadcast, if you'd like additional weather information on top of what I provide, you can go to weather.gov. That is the National Weather Service's online presence. It'll bring you to a map of the lower 48 with Alaska and Hawaii to the lower left, and then the territories as little click-on tabs down here at the base. You point and click anywhere on this map, and it will pull up a forecast with any relevant watches, warnings, and advisories for anywhere in the nation. And on the weather map this Thursday afternoon, of most important weather thing going on is an early season winter storm impacting the northern Rockies and northern plains from areas of Montana, Wyoming into North Dakota. Some areas have picked up as much as a foot of snow with this early season system, not unheard of. As we start to get into later October, early November, this is the prime time, especially along the front range of the Rocky Mountains, to see some bigger snowstorms from Colorado northward. But otherwise, looking here in Alaska, we've been under the influence of a really large upper level ridge of high pressure. And as a result, it creates a strong temperature inversion. Normally, when you go up in the atmosphere cools as you go up higher and higher, but in the case of a strong inversion like this big high, it creates a lower level inversion, not much above the surface, maybe only several hundred feet to a few thousand feet. And at this time of year, because the sun angle is low and we're not getting that same amount of energy that we were getting, that intense energy in the summertime, we can't turn and break out of this inversion. But it allows, with the longer nights, for temperatures to really cool off. So many of the valleys, like Copper River Basin, can see temperatures down in the single digits above and below zero despite the fact you have this sunny high pressure system. And so it's been definitely cooler temperatures for many areas here, despite the clear skies and sunshine. Now, on the backside of the high, you get a push of moist air coming up on the North Pacific and riding up along the west coast. And there's the potential for mainly a light mix of precipitation across the west coast area into the western interior this weekend, starting Friday into Saturday and perhaps lingering into areas of Saturday night and Sunday. It would be a mix of light, wet snow that could have some rain or even a period of light freezing rain. Just a light glazing of ice may be possible. So stay tuned to later forecasts there. And then ice safety. With the cold nights, we've seen temperatures in the daytime not get above zero in many areas. So the ice is building. Be very careful if venturing out to try your first attempts of some ice fishing or ice skating, and certainly hold off on maybe trying to pull out vehicles yet, because we want that ice to reach a safe thickness. And we have the full moon of the freezing lakes. The month of October occurs Saturday afternoon. So you'll notice that moon out there right now. It's a waxing gibbous moon moving toward the full phase that'll occur shortly after noon on Saturday. Overall, above normal temperatures are expected much of the mainland as we go into the first days of November, and trending maybe drier across the southwest, including the Alaska Peninsula. Looking at a couple of the FAA webcams at the airport sites, Nome overcast, a little bit of light rain, a little light fog this afternoon, 37 degrees. Gulkana, below this big dome of high pressure. High clouds, 18. The temperature there this morning was 3 above. Northway was down to 2 below zero. So again, this is that impact. Even though you're getting the clear skies, you think, oh, nice warm ridge of high pressure. No, at the surface this time of year generally brings pretty chilly weather conditions, but at least it's dry. Many areas had a very wet summer in this area of South Central, enjoying more than a week of dry weather and sunny skies. So the only real weather concern we have coming out here, the forecast office in Fairbanks has issued a special weather statement for areas around Norton Sound, Kotzebue Sound, including the Seward Peninsula and going up through the middle Yukon Valley from Anvik up to Galena. The potential for a light mix of precipitation here as we go through the weekend, starting Saturday along areas here, the Seward Peninsula, and that'll try to push a little further inland by the time we get into Saturday and early on Sunday. So just stay tuned to later forecasts. It's possible some sort of winter weather advisory could be issued in response to how that unfolds. Looking at the satellite imagery, so we have this massive ridge of high pressure sitting out over this region. Back to the west, we have a southerly flow of air coming in around it. And that moisture is going to be pulling northward along the east side of the Bering Sea through the Bering Strait. We have a couple areas of low pressure out that way, one south of the eastern Aleutians, and then this well-defined mid and upper level ridge of high pressure. Now at the surface, the actual surface center high pressure is here over the Yukon at 1036 millibars, but the mid and upper level high is actually sitting here over south central Alaska, the northern Gulf. This feature is going to begin to finally break down and slide a little further eastward. And as a result, we expect this moisture feed to come up along the west coast and maybe try to push a little further inland over the weekend up into maybe as far up through the lower and middle Yukon Valley. But no major storms with a lot of wind are anticipated at this time. So we have later tonight into early Friday morning, a couple areas of weak low pressure here through the lower Bering back to just north of the western Aleutians, and another low in the North Pacific. But still the big weather story, a dominant feature here is this ridge of high pressure that extends over southern southeastern mainland down into northwest and western Canada. And as we go into Friday afternoon, we still have the surface features of this high pressure out over the Gulf, southeastern mainland into the Yukon. We have this trough extending up in past the Bering Strait into the Chukchi Sea with a couple weak areas of low pressure. A little bit of light mixed precipitation, not out of the realm of possibility here off the Chukchi Sea coast, off the northwest coast in areas of the west coast. By the time we get into Saturday afternoon, this low just sits out here in the lower central Bering Sea with a feed of moisture coming in up from south to north. So again, that'll keep some areas of light precipitation going. The chances further inland are less, so this is just a chance. This is not really like any type of steady precipitation, but areas along the west coast will have the best chance of seeing some rain and snow mixed, maybe a little bit of freezing rain in a few areas where the temperature profile is favorable for that to form. But in the meantime, low temperatures are going to be chilly, below freezing most areas, with maybe the exception of the outer panhandle staying above freezing at places like Klawak, down toward Craig. Down near or a bit below zero in the Copper River Basin, Glen Ellen, Gulkana, and up toward Northway. In the 20s, Anchorage Bowl, and further south with easterly flow there, Kodiak City staying at 43 temperatures. Friday afternoon may get back up near 40. Kenai and up toward, say, Anchorage and on over toward Cordova and Valdez. Temperatures could still hit 50 in the southern panhandle, Ketchikan and Craig, but staying below freezing there in the Copper River Basin. We got that temperature inversion, just a little ways above the surface, and that night the temperatures just get cold. Single digits again above zero there in the Copper River Basin Saturday morning. 20s many areas across the interior, 40s along if you're near the Gulf. And then for Saturday afternoon, temperatures once again could be near 50, the outer southwestern coast area of the Panhandle, only near 40 and through Anchorage. And again, temperatures stay below freezing across the Copper River Basin. And in the far north, we expect lows in some of the valleys to be at or below zero. Again, could be down around 3 below or so at Northway very easily. Temperatures along the Arctic coast just below freezing and near freezing along the Seward coastline. And then as we go through Friday afternoon, temperatures 20s for highs in the interior and near freezing along the Arctic and northwest coast, and then mid to maybe upper 30s Nome down towards Stebbins. And so, that's pretty typical for this time of year when we get a little colder weather. And same thing again Saturday morning, single digits just above zero along the Alcan border, Northway, Eagle, including areas in and around the Alaska Range. There's some locally colder places there in some of these little tucked away valleys. And then we expect lows along the Seward coastline to be generally near and a bit above freezing, including around Norton Sound. Temperatures are going to moderate a bit later in the weekend, so notice 40-degree air pushing up toward St. Lawrence Island and the lower Yukon Delta. So that will help prevent any sort of freezing precipitation. But as you get up further north in through this area around Kotzebue Sound, the interior of the Seward Peninsula, and further up the Yukon, the middle Yukon River, there could be a little bit of a light mix of precip. Friday morning, lows 40s as you extend off the Alaska Peninsula into the eastern Aleutians. Temperatures below freezing as you go up through the southwest interior, Bethel on up toward Anvik, and then Friday afternoon highs could be 47 at King Salmon and on over toward Kodiak City, 52 as you get down along Chicknick and out toward Falls Pass and Cold Bay. And then on Saturday morning, we expect lows to generally be above freezing here along the southwest coast, Bristol Bay, Kuskokwim Bay, and then 40s extending out along the Alaska Peninsula into the Dutch Harbor. And again, Saturday afternoon highs will be pretty similar, near 50 King Salmon and Kodiak City, as well as further southwest as you extend out along the Alaska Peninsula to the eastern Aleutians. And here's the temperature outlook for the first 5 days of November is calling for temperatures to average above normal across much of the state. And so we would expect readings to be at least maybe 3 to 5 or a bit more than that above normal. And for precipitation, indicating perhaps below normal temperature here across areas of the southwest mainland, and maybe slightly above normal here across the east central interior toward the Alcan border, but otherwise still looking like a fairly benign pattern. No major storms on the horizon anticipated, but again, we're sliding now deeper into the fall and approaching the real winter season. So we'll keep you posted should anything more significant develop, but overall we're looking at temperatures to average above normal across much of the state to start out November.